Hello there, it's Carrie Rhoades here. Welcome back to the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel. Today is the brand new release, Sunny Side Up, and I am sharing 5 cards, 5 Slimline cards, with all 5 of the brand new stamp sets in this release. Let's take a closer look at these adorable stamp sets. First, we have the all cracked up stamp set with this little gnome peeking out of the hatched egg and a little chick to go with. And then we have the Spring in My Step stamp set with this gnome carrying some eggs, and he has a little chick for a friend. Then we have the gnome bunny. He has no hands because there's 2 different images you can layer on top that he can be holding, and there's also the fun eggs to go with it. We also have 2 brand new Slimline stamp sets. This is the Slimline Bunnies. There are also 2 standalone bunny images, some fun sentiments that can go with it as well. And when you look really closely at the little bunnies in this big image, they are so cute and funny too. And then we have the Slimline chicks. There's a chick upside down, a baby chick, one with a bee on his beak. And then we have the 2 standalone images as well as some sentiments. There are coordinating dies to go with the gnome stamps as well. So I want to make sure that you knew that. Now let's jump in and stamp them out. So remember, this is the all cracked up set. I'm just stamping out every single image in all of these sets so that you can see them. Well, in the gnome stamp sets anyway. And there's the all Spring in My Step, and the next one is the gnome bunny. And then on the 2 Slimline stamps, I'm actually going to stamp these out in Versamark, so you're not going to be able to see it right away because Versamark is a clear pigment ink and it's sticky, which is really important for the technique I'm going to use for these cards. So they are stamped on there even if you can't see them just yet. You will in a moment. I am bringing in my pan pastels and rubbing them across my backgrounds that are stamped in Versamark. So when you stamp in Versamark, you want to let it set for just a minute, not long at all, and then apply the pan pastels, because then your ink is less likely to smear and it'll still be wet enough for the pastel to stick to it. So you can see it's coloring the stamped image and also leaving pastel in the background for just a really cool, super fun look. Now for the chicks, I'm going to use yellow. I had a little problem. There was like a smudge of some other pastel on my sponge, so I got a little dark spot in the bottom right corner. I'll do a couple things to fix that, and it won't be a big deal at all. I didn't want to waste it. I like to try to save it somehow. So I brought in my orange sponge without putting any more pastel on it and just rubbed the 2 sides, so it almost gave it an ombre look, fading from orange to yellow, and that kind of hid the darker mistake there in the bottom corner. Now when I use these, I always set it with a fixative spray, which I just showed there, and then I'm going to splatter on top of those with some metallic watercolors. I did a kind of rusty orange color on the orange panel and this bright gold on the yellow panel. I'll set those aside to dry and stamp out the supporting images from the 2 Slimline stamp sets. They're super cute. Now I'm not going to show you all the coloring. I really stuck with the same color palette. I'm going to show you how I stamped out the Spring in My Step stamp set. I just love these colors. The blue, the pink, and the yellow together. Oh my gosh, so cute. Now I did bring in a little bit of green, which I don't show you when I show my markers, but on a couple of the images there is some greenery, and I had to color the leaves with the flowers. So I did bring in a little green for that. But there you just saw me color out the hat with some light blue markers. And then for the beard, I'm going with gray. N2 is my darkest, and then I'm going to blend that out with N1, and then I'll blend that out again with my N0, leaving a white highlight in the center, and I just love this look for these gnomes today. Now for the boots, I am doing E27 in the middle of the boot and E29 for the accent pieces, which are the darker parts of the boots. So no ink blending on that, just doing some different colors side by side, which is what I'm doing for this egg as well. So I colored parts of it with my lighter pink RV21, and then I'm bringing in RV13 as my darker, and again coloring beside it but not doing any ink blending. And for the yellow, I will do ink blending. I'm using Y17 as my darkest marker, and then Y15 as my lightest, and I'll use that on my butterfly and my chick, those colors as well. For my skin, I am using E21, only one color, keeping it really simple, and then I will do some highlighting with my white gel pen on all of the things because I love the look that having a white highlight gives to my images, and on these lighter fun Easter colors, it's just so cool. Now I'm going to die cut out this pattern paper from the Winter Hues paper pack using this Wonky Stitched Wilderness die set. I also cut a green piece with that same die, and then I'm using the grassy border from the Great Outdoors die set, and then I'm going to do the fence from that same die set from white cardstock. That way I can make a little scene. And I will be using this grass on every card in today's video and the fence on the first 3 cards. So you'll see that a few times. I love it. So I just glued those at the bottom so the grass was overlapping the bottom of the fence a little bit. And then I'm going to adhere all my images, my gnome and my chick and my butterflies and my sentiment are all going to be popped up just to give it some more dimension. And I kind of feel like they're like walking in a little Easter parade with their goodies. I love it. I did pop up the flowers, and then I'm going to glue in some of these Easter egg clay elements. They are so cute, and they have blue and pink and yellow on them, so they were perfect for today's card. But here's the sad part. I lost my jewel picker. It grew legs and left. Who knows, but if you're watching, jewel picker, please come home. I miss you. All right, so then I glued that onto my 8.5 by 7 card base to make a slimline card. Now I'm going to make a very similar card, but now I'm using the Gnome Bunny set, and I have a piece of paper from the All Heart paper pack. I'm adding that fence and the grass, and then I'm going to pop on all my images. So this gnome is going to be holding the baby chick because that was too cute to resist. And he's going to sit down there in the grass. I added the sentiment that says, "Gnome Bunny loves you like I do." And then I'll put the eggs in and around the gnome, tucking some in the grass and one behind the fence. I'll add this little flower, and there's the flower that I need the green markers for to color the leaves, and glue that onto a slimline card. For card number 3, same thing, that wonky border and the fence and the grass. And this is a really fun way to make a lot of cards, is to repeat the same elements and then just switch it up with your stamped images. So I'm going to tuck my little gnome and his egg in the grass, and then have the chick sitting next to him. And then I popped on my sentiments, "Hey chick, happy Easter." And I'm going to glue some more of those eggs into the grass to dress it up just like it's Easter, and there's little eggs hidden all over the ground and in the yard. I love that. And then this will get glued also to an 8.5 by 7 piece of cardstock that is scored at 3.5 to make a slimline card. And there are all 3 of my gnome cards. Those are the brand new gnome stamp sets for this spring release, and I love all of them. I did have leftover strip of the pattern paper for each of these that I added to the inside as a little decorative element, and this orange paper is from the Autumn Rainbow paper pack. They're all slimline paper packs. I'll link them for you below so you can check them out. I love the sturdiness of this paper, and it has a little bit of a glossy finish. All right, on to the last 2 cards. I'm bringing in those backgrounds that I created, and I die cut this one with the middle die from the Stitched Slimline set, and then I die cut a scalloped panel for it to sit on, and then I have the lift the flap dies and created a little window in my card front. I'm going to put glue in and around that flap and add a window sheet because both of these next 2 cards are going to be shakers. Now I'm going to add some foam tape all around that window so that none of my shaker elements will be able to escape. Now my foam tape here was a little wide, so I just stuck it down to the sheet of some foam squares and then cut it so it was narrower, and then I can piece this in and make sure the ends of my foam strips touch with the side pieces. So again, none of my shaker elements can escape. I added more foam tape on the side, but none of those needed to touch because it's just supporting it. On the back of this square piece of paper, I added my bunny holding the flowers, and that's what you're going to see when you open the flap. Now, I have this clay element mix that was just a mix that Trinity sent me. Some of these elements inside this mix are in the shop right now, but I will just tell you, Trinity Stamps has a ton of shaker elements, a ton of clay bits, so you can find anything you want for your shaker cards. Now, I had to hold that up because I was pretty sure I had it backwards, and I did, so I almost glued the bunny down where when I opened the window it would have been upside down. So I'm really glad I double checked that, because now my bunny is right side up, and I'm just removing the adhesive backing on my foam tape and pressing that bunny down. And there I have a little shaker window. Next, I'm going to add adhesive to the back of that stamped panel, remove the backing on my foam tape, and then I'll add this to that green scalloped panel, which measures 8.5 by 3.5. For my grass, a little bit of it overlapped my window, so I used that window to die cut a little half circle in the grass before gluing it down so I can still open and close that window. My bunny's going to be popped up in the middle. I also stamped hopping by to say hi, and then added my sentiment I already stamped, "Some bunny loves you." So I have a sentiment on either side of my window. And then I die cut a few hearts. I wasn't sure what color of orange, but I ended up going with this darkest orange. It really popped on this background, and I added those to the ends of my sentiments. I'm going to adhere this down to a card panel that measures 8 3/4 by 7.5, scored at 3 3/4, so you can see that dark orange all the way around. And that finishes up my first shaker card. On to the Slimline Chicks card. I am using the smallest of these stitched rectangles to die cut out that panel, and then on this yellow piece I die cut it from with the largest stitched panel and then the smallest to create a frame. On the back of the frame, I will glue on a window sheet to cover that, because the entire front of this card is going to be a shaker card. On my stamped panel that will go on the inside of my window, I added my grass, and then also from the Wonky border that I used on the first 3 cards, there is a sun and a cloud. It doesn't cut them out, but it stitches them into the card. It's so cool. So then I added that panel onto a Slimline card base that's 8.5 by 7, scored at 3.5. And now I'm picking out all of these flowers that have a smiley face because they're like white and yellow. And I thought those colors went really good with the eggs. Then I added on my frame with some foam tape and some glue as well so I could scoot it around. And then I'm able to glue on my chicks and my sentiments to finish off this card right here. So there are 5 new stamp sets in this mini release and 5 ideas for you to use with all of them. The possibilities are endless with these stamp sets. They are so adorable, and I just wanted to make sure that you had some cute ideas for all of them, and that you could start creating as soon as you got yours. I thank you so much for stopping by the Trinity Stamps channel and letting me share my creations with you, and I will be back again next Saturday with another video just for you. So stop by and see me. Happy stamping! Bye!